Good morning. I'm Dwight Schmuck, and this is today's Schmuck Look. Folks, what I'm going to talk about today was something I read in the newspaper yesterday. Seems that Merck & Company, a giant pharmaceutical manufacturer here in the United States, has recalled something like 1.2 million doses of an anti-infection. It's a vaccine to prevent meningitis, pneumonia, and other bacteriological infections in babies 12 to 18 months old. This is a regular shot, part of the medical program. Unfortunately, Merck is one of like 3 or so companies that manufactures this. The last clean test they had for sterility in the machinery, etc., was in November of 2006. Back in October of 2007, we're talking just a couple months ago, really, they had a glitch of some sort, and some of the vaccines were stopped right there and tossed. They've recalled, as I said, 1.2 million doses. Now, I don't know, but if you're talking something that's supposed to keep us healthy, to prevent illness, I would think that, you test your machinery, etc., more than once every 11 months. Now, something is real wrong here. And I'm going to tell you from the schmuck's face here, my mouth to your ears, how we can fix this. Remember just a few years ago, the flu vaccine was unavailable because one of the 2 places in the world that made it was deemed unsanitary. And that left only one, of course. And that's the big problem here, folks, with these international mega conglomerates. They have their cost cutters do everything they can to eliminate any type of overproduction, over manpower, because labor, of course, is the huge cost. I mean, my God, you give people jobs, they want paychecks too. But I'm going to tell you right now, today, how we can fix this. And I have it here in my book called A Schmuck's Eye View by Dwight Schmuck, myself, coming out January 1st. And I tell you right in here how we can stop that. And it is a simple deal. Now, it would mean a little government help, but the government will get paid back. Now, here's the deal. You know yourselves, every big town, all of your major cities, there are at least, or is at least, one big building that's totally unused. The manufacturing has gone to Singapore, India, China, who knows where, and these buildings are now unused. People are laid off, out of work. Of course, how they're supposed to buy those goods that are now manufactured overseas, I'm not sure, but we won't talk about that. Anyway, the government steps in, acquires one of these buildings by eminent domain, and usually, these buildings are behind in their taxes because they're unused, and the guy who owns them, he's not going to pay taxes on something that isn't being used. They really house just vermin, insect, mammalian, and human. So the government steps in, takes one by eminent domain. We got the Army, we got the National Guard, all these guys with skills. Clean it up, fix it up, get the machinery to manufacture these medications. Now the government hires a manager, and he's going to be in charge of this place, and it will go private sector. He's got to hire the people, staff the place. Everybody who gets hired has to sign a contract that a certain amount of their wages gets taken every week. They become the owners of the place. The codicil here is it cannot be sold to a mega conglomerate, to an international corporation. It must stay locally owned and operated. You work it out so that in 5 years or 10 years, the government gets its money back with a little bit of interest, of course. Why should the taxpayers lose? But then it's locally owned, locally operated. And you know as well as I do, if you own something, you're not likely going to scrap it just because you woke up Monday with a hangover. There'll be minimal absenteeism, and you can count on it. These people will take care because it's their kids that they're making the medications for. You know it. I know it. Now, this is what our government is supposed to do. Help us have better lives. Not just the wealthy get wealthier, not just the powerful get even more power. But government is there to help us stay, according to Mr. Bush, secure. And I ask you, as a schmuck, how can you be secure when you know these people are not making the medicines we need, that our children need, that our grandchildren need, and keeping to a sterile plan? I mean, my God, Merck and Company, 11 months between clean tests? That is unconscionable. Now, I know you're saving your stockholders money and you're making more and more for them, and that's important. Oh, my God. So are kids' lives. Most doctors all over the country are reporting severe shortages. One in Poughkeepsie, New York, said that it took all but a handful of his vaccines. A 2-year supply, gone. That is totally unconscionable. It's time we started taking the power back, and that's the way to do it. Get your legislators. Get a hold of them. Say, hey, here's an idea. Why not? Because these are the guys who are supposed to flesh out these ideas. Obviously, they're not smart enough to come up with them on their own. Here's a freebie. Like I said, folks, it's in my book, A Schmuck's Eye View. You all have a great day. And peace. This is Dwight Schmuck. That's today's Schmuck Look.